Joining me this morning to talk a little bit about economic development and entrepreneurship in New Mexico is the new director of the USDA in New Mexico, and I'm happy to have her on the program with me. Patricia Dominguez is here with us this morning. Good morning, and thank you for being on the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You bet. It's great to have you with us. And so I said you were the new-ish director. You've been on the job since about October, you were telling me.
Yes, I was appointed mid-October, and extremely honored and to have been chosen, and learning new things every day. I had some background in this work. I'd worked for both Senators Bingaman and Heinrich before, and covered a lot of rural communities in New Mexico. But now I get to drill down much deeper, and I'm just loving the work, enjoying it. Really looking forward to getting out to a lot of the rural communities. I'm from a rural community myself. I grew up in Penasco. So, just this is where my heart is, and I'm looking forward to learning. So this is a lot of learning on my part as well, and sharing what I learn, and hopefully, helping folks along the way.
Right. Well, very good. And again, congratulations. And so just to set the stage a little bit, you are the director of the USDA Rural Development here in New Mexico. So you are kind of working on areas kind of outside the metropolitan areas of our state, of which San Juan County is part of that, correct?
Yes, absolutely. So I would say the bulk of New Mexico
Yeah.
is probably rural. So, our agency covers a lot of ground here in New Mexico, and, looking forward to getting to know all the different folks. Like I said, I'm from, up north, and, I'd covered some other areas with the two Senate offices. So, Middle Valley and above, and, looking forward to getting to the areas down south as well. And yeah, this is a exciting time.
Very, very good. And it is an exciting time because we were talking about entrepreneurship. And so there are some opportunities, I guess, out there for folks who live in rural parts of New Mexico to work with the USDA and the Rural Development Office for some money, right, to help maybe get some of their ideas started as far as maybe starting a business or providing for a business or things along that line, right?
Yes. So our Undersecretary, who also is from New Mexico, Undersecretary for Rural Development, Social Torres Small, she recently unveiled a resource guide. And the resource guide is a couple of benefits, I feel. It highlights all the programs, and but it also gives ideas. So it has some stories of folks who've used the programs in the past. And I think that's where a good chunk of the benefit will come from. When you look at the resource guide, you see something someone else has done, and you think, hey, maybe I can do that for my business. So I think that idea, could there's a seed potentially planted there of how maybe you can expand your business, something you hadn't thought of, or maybe just didn't know about. And now that there's potential funding for it, I think that is the benefit, and you can now go through and see the various programs that we have. And, maybe something out there to help you. We're coming out of this pandemic, and I think folks are, itching to get, see what's next, see what the next chapter holds for them. And, some of the things here we have is expanding access to capital to create small business incubators, the value-added agricultural products grant, VAPG, that's very, I know a lot of folks use it here in New Mexico. Some examples of, the chili and hatch. So,
Sure.
The chili's the raw product. They now packaged it up and did it in a chile relleno fashion, and now it's in the stores for you to basically a quick way to get that food product out to your house. And you can quickly have a chile relleno versus making one. I don't know if you've ever made any. They're not easy.
Right.
I can't say mine are top of the line. They come out a little soggy. But now I have another option.
Very true. Well, and for folks, I would say that maybe have that family recipe that's been handed down, and maybe wanted to share that with the rest of the state. This could be something that they could do with some local agricultural products, right, and value added, making it into something else.
Exactly. So, making the raw product into something else, and essentially there's some more funding, some more money to be had in that.
Right.
And then every day we have the new little computer in your hands. Who would have thought I have to say, when I was a lot younger, I would have never thought I would have, that phone with me, that was become my mini computer. So, but you need, basically internet access. So that's another one of our programs, Reconnect, which will help basically communities really at large, have internet access. We also have our REAP program, which helps folks, maybe cut some energy costs. And also as part of that internet piece, we have the telemedicine and telehealth grants. And so, again, now during the pandemic, if you needed deep care, obviously you went into the office, but you might just need a quick visit to renew some prescriptions or something along those lines. Some of my visits ended up being, telemedicine visits, and so, I was kept safe, as was the healthcare staff, and they probably were able to see quite a few people that way. But again, it's definitely an access issue, and it could have been a barrier for some folks. So we're trying to help folks, overcome some of these barriers. And, if it's available in the city, we're trying to make it available. If it's available in an urban area, we want to make it available in a rural area. Folks deserve all of that too.
Right. Very good. And there's also some access to some workforce development
Yes.
funds as well for that type of thing for folks, or maybe training opportunities.
Training opportunities. And, like you say, if you go into that business guide, if you click, well, first of all, I guess I should say, folks should go to our website, which is rd.usda.gov.
Right.
And there'll be a ton of resources there. And again, the website's a good place maybe to spark up some ideas. We have a link there called Success Stories. You can click on that, and maybe there's something that will work for you. And like I say, sometimes, I think people are just focused on keeping, themselves above water, and, not necessarily a lot of time maybe to think about something. But, if you have a few minutes, take a look at that and check out the success stories. And they're not only New Mexico specific, they're from across the nation. And, there's a lot of rural communities in the United States, and maybe somebody out there has thought of something really neat that you could do too. And, or maybe you have a unique idea, come to USDA, come to Rural Development. Maybe it's something we can help you with. And if not us, maybe we can connect you with someone else. We're here to be a resource in that way too. Maybe there's another agency out there that can be of assistance to you, and we'd be happy to help you connect that way as well.
Right. Good point. I think a lot of folks maybe these days have a lot of ideas, but they don't maybe have is the capital, the money, maybe to make these ideas into reality. And this is where maybe you can help with some of these programs.
So some of our standing programs is the business program and the business and industry loan guarantee program. So, some of the funding comes directly from us. Some of it actually comes from a lender, and we guarantee that loan. And, should you not succeed, which, fingers crossed everybody does, then it takes some of the, basically, the risk off of the lender, and, the government takes that risk on. So,
Right.
That's another way to access capital for folks. So maybe you have a lender you work with and you're comfortable with, and, they're part of our program. We can take on, the loan guarantee portion of that.
Got you. My guest this morning is Patricia Dominguez. She is the new director of the USDA Rural Development Program here in New Mexico. We are talking about some opportunities for entrepreneurs. And we're just getting out of Entrepreneur Week. That was last week, aren't we, in New Mexico, Director Dominguez?
Yes. And, we're... the thing is it's, I think it'd be Entrepreneur Week all the time.
True. Should be.
So, so we're highlighting it, obviously, February 2nd now, 12th, through the 19th. But, if you have an idea, come to us at any time. And, we do have our programs basically kind of revolve. So if you miss a timeline now, something will come up again later. So we have standing programs that the funding, gets dropped into on a yearly basis, and so there'll be other opportunities even if you if you don't get to it right now, there'll be an opportunity for you potentially later.
Right. And I think maybe what this pandemic has taught us is that maybe the 9-to-5 job we had been doing is maybe not a good fit anymore. Maybe a lot of folks have thought maybe I need to think outside the box, or what else does my community need coming out of the pandemic that may be something that would fit into some of the criteria that we've been talking about this morning for some of these grants and other programs that can really help get their ideas off the ground and into reality after 2 years of pandemic living.
Absolutely. I think a lot of folks interesting way, had a lot of time to think
Yeah.
and reconnected with themselves and thought, what do I want to do, for the next 10, 20, 30 years, however, long they have in the workforce, depending on their, where they are in their stage in life. And really now is the time. There is a lot of funding that has come through. There's funding the federal level, the state level as well. And, again, like think about things, and all you have to do is ask. If you don't, what is that saying? If you don't play the lottery, you can never win. Same thing here, it might work, it might not work, but you'll never know unless you kind of take that first step, which is just, start asking a few questions. And, like I mentioned, we have a variety of programs, and some of them are definitely business related. We also have some other ones that we actually have a big project up in Shiprock, which is a wastewater project, which will bring clean drinking water into the community. And it's actually one of the biggest ones we've done. This was before my time, but it's going to actually get done during my time here. And, folks, again, something that the communities really need, clean drinking water. That's a really foundational piece. And we also have housing loans.
Right.
And we can also help folks. And this one's really more geared towards elderly folks in the community, where they'll assist with basically maintenance on the home. If there's something you might need to make the home basically safe and livable. Again, before my time, but when I was with the senator's office, I did get out to see some of these projects, and it was one in Las Vegas, New Mexico. And I know actually a lot of folks do this all over the state, so there will be some in your area as well. But essentially it was an older couple whose furnace just didn't work anymore, and they also needed to plug up some holes in the attic, essentially. So they've just been using a space heater, and that can be really
Wow.
dangerous.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Scary.
yeah, for sure. They came in, fixed got them a new furnace, patched up the hole in the attic, and that will be good for the life of that home from this point on. And it's a safety issue, and it was also energy efficiency thing as well. And now they had a safe heating source, but an also energy efficient one. So there's a lot of things that the rural development does, and I don't know that folks necessarily know that much about it. And another one is again internet access. So we have the Reconnect Grant, which is open right now. It closes roughly in about 15 days, though. And I know there's folks who've applied for that, and the purpose of that one is to target rural communities that may have limited access or none at all. That is the focus of that grant. So again, we're trying to do basically equity, if you will. So this administration is very interested in, the Biden-Harris administration, on having the equity, the same things in the urban area. We're trying to roll them out into the rural communities. So
Right.
I'm excited to be part of that. I, again, came from a rural community.
Right.
And, totally know what that's like. Many times we had to travel to get, a lot of things. And that's just the reality for a lot of communities in New Mexico.
Right, right. And I wanted to ask you, too, Director Dominguez, a little bit about some of these folks who are applying or could apply for these grants and programs. I mean, we've been talking kind of individuals that maybe have an idea about entrepreneurship and starting their own business or things like that. But it seems to me, too, that other groups or other entities or even existing businesses might be able to benefit from some of these grants and programs in these different categories that we've been talking about. They're eligible too if they're in a rural part of New Mexico, aren't they?
Absolutely. So it's like in the business and industry folks, in the business and industry programs. So a nonprofit could potentially apply and
Right.
bank that money, and then have it basically kind of sublet the money, if you will, and I know that's not the correct term, but they could then assist a business with the funding that they have taken on from USDA. So it's like for-profit, nonprofit businesses, cooperatives, federally recognized tribes, public bodies, and the individuals engaged or proposing to engage in a business.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're already a business owner, maybe you could think about our REAP program, which essentially does it's an energy efficiency program. So one of the
I'm looking at that myself because there's a radio station in Taos that got some REAP money, so that made my eyes kind of perk up and ears perk up and go, hey, what are they doing? But this is the very famous KTAO FM in Taos that's pretty much run by solar power, and they were able to get some backup batteries for their station, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and also there's a winery in Deming, and they installed solar panels, and over the first year, they roughly saved about $40,000 in electricity costs. So, that's $40,000 they could invest back into the business.
Wow, that's significant.
So, it is significant. And so, there's a real return on investment there. And so, that's also a popular program. So, think about it for you too. New Mexico is very sunny.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yesterday morning, we had the snow for about, half the day, and the latter half of the day was
sun came back out, so
completely sunny.
That's very true.
So,
there was also a grant
to think about.
Yeah, there was also a grant to the Main Street program in Lovington, right? They received a little bit of money, not a little bit, $75,000 for their Main Street program, right?
Yes, and so there's been a lot of communities who've invested in that, and as a way to Main Streets back in the day were such a big thing, and then they kind of fell off, and as a reinvestment in the community, trying to bring folks back. A lot of folks leave and then come back when they retire, and they have essentially when they've gone out, they came back with some capital and some ideas, and they're very interested. Home is where the heart is, and their heart never left their community, so they come back, and same thing, using that funding to make things look pleasing. It really does matter, and it's also a way to just bring in business. And again, one of my favorite terms, and I actually have to give credit to a gentleman in the Forest Service from years ago, but is scale appropriate development. And so you might have a small business that maybe has three folks that work there. With those three folks, it's kind of like a domino effect. They now can, support their family, and they have a little bit of money to, feed back into that community. And it just, it doesn't seem like it's that big an impact, but it's a massive impact because it keeps folks there. Maybe their children will stay there. There's that brain drain piece, and, won't deny, like I didn't, I left. I left, my community when I graduated and, went off to school. But I never left New Mexico. I was always very interested in giving back. And this is, where I'm very excited to be here, because I think this will be the opportunity for me to help, multiple small communities in New Mexico. Because, there are people who don't want to go. They're not interested in the hustle and bustle of a larger, urban area. They're, they like that, space. The West is beautiful. Just looking at your backyard and seeing like the beautiful community that you live in, totally understand that. And that's where I'm, really would like to be helpful to let folks, invest and stay in their communities.
Sure, very true. And I just wanted to talk a little bit more about that grant in Lovington, because it involves food, and so that also got my attention. But they were able to start a local innovators institute, a restaurant accelerator, and reach out to local restaurants, it sounds like, and offer them maybe a chance to sell from a food truck a few times a week at a location. And this original $75,000 grant in 2019 created 38 jobs, according to this, and saved 53 more jobs in the areas. So that looks like a big return on that money, because that $75,000 I don't think can pay for 38 jobs.
No,
so
for sure not.
That's a great investment. Mm-hmm. It sounds to me.
Yeah, you mentioned it essentially helped them kind of do a bit of an experiment, if you will. So they went out and tested their food items and basically saw which ones people were interested in. And, they were able to do that with this funding. So, it reduced the risk again to the business owners so they could do this experiment, if you will.
Right.
And that's part of a lot of what our funding does, is a risk reduction, if you will. In terms of the business and industry loan guarantees, the government's taking on the risk. In this case, this funding was able to help folks, and it took a little bit of that risk off of their hands, and they were just able to benefit from, the feedback that they got from, the community. Like, what do you like? How do we best essentially like market or brand ourselves so that, folks know who we are, we get maybe a signature dish out of this. And, when folks, let's be honest, we're all creatures of habit. So when you find something you like, you might branch out now and again, but many times you just want that comfort of something is going to be, tasty all the time. And, this also helps, again, like a branding piece and a marketing piece. So if you get a signature dish out of this and that's what you become famous for, well, all the better. And, then that helps maybe someone else down the line where you're getting your supply from. They know this is your signature dish, and they know you're always going to be a customer for it. So,
right.
Like I'm telling you, there's those little domino effects that occur, with a seemingly small amount of money, $75,000, but it had a big impact, for those folks in Lovington. Right.
Well, and I think that's what you probably like to see too, is a good return on your investment, right, for the USDA.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
And New Mexico has some of the best food. I mean, I've traveled quite a bit in my time, and I will say, I can with certainty say that, New Mexico has some great food, and that's, I think, why people come visit us a lot too as well.
Well, and again, coming out of the pandemic, we know our restaurants have been hit kind of hard these past 2 years, and so perhaps there's something that they could be thinking about that they could use and do something with some money that's available through some of these programs. We are just about out of time, Director Dominguez. So again, for folks who are listening to us that maybe want more information of what we're talking about, or maybe explore some of the other programs, I know they can reach out to your office. They can also go online to the website, which is rd.usda.gov, correct?
Yes. And like I say, that's a wonderful place to get more information. One of the tabs that's on the website is success stories. So you click on that, and it'll maybe give you some ideas of things that that you might have not thought about that might be something for your business. And then again, like I say, we have a ton of other programs that folks can look at, and we can also call us. I know not everybody's interested in using the internet. If folks are interested in calling the office, if you don't mind, I can give that number.
Please do.
505-761-4950, but we're available, by phone or through the website, and has our contact information listed there as well. But check out the resource guide. There's a variety of resource guides there, and look at the success stories. Some are from New Mexico, some are from the rest of the nation, but again, I think they're a good place to just generate ideas potentially.
Sure.
On what your business might be able to do.
Very, very good. And I will let our audiences know, of course, we are airing this interview on President's Day, and so I bet maybe the office will be closed today, but if they call tomorrow, someone will be there to answer the call.
Yeah, the office is closed on Monday, but we're here today.
Yes, so there you go. But perfect. Well, Director Dominguez, it's been great talking with you. Congratulations again, and thank you for being on the program this morning with me.
Thank you for everything, and thank you for having me. I love getting out and sharing our information. Thank you again.
You're very welcome. When you visit Northwest New Mexico, we hope you'll stop by.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. That is Patricia Dominguez. She is the new Director for Rural Development for the USDA here in New Mexico with me on KSJE.